Hey everybody, Alex here, Out of the Park 23, Pittsburgh Pirates franchise, episode number 28, and we are wrapping up the 2031 season. I know I've kind of continued to speed through the seasons, and I want to give you guys the whole recap, but long story short is so close, yet so far the Pittsburgh Pirates, despite my all-in push and really good feeling this was the year for Pittsburgh to get back to the postseason for just the second time in the series. It is not going to happen. A late season kind of collapse by us has cost our chance at a wild card berth. So we are 83-76, which is just a game under our Pythagorean record. In this 8-12 number in September, our offense has really just tanked. And so I know I'm kind of giving you guys the long view of the season. You last saw us at the start of the year on opening day, in which we lost. We got off to a really hot start to begin the year. You see in April, 18-10. The offense at one point was number one in runs scored, which I knew was not going to sustain. And, at the start of the month, as I can pull up the standings here on September 1st, if I can show that, we were 75-65, and I don't see the wildcard stuff has gone away unless I don't know if I can do that here or not. It does not appear I can, which is weird. But, we were in a good position. We were capturing that third and final wildcard spot. Milwaukee ran away with the Central title, and so we were battling the Mets primarily. And the Mets finished the year on a really good streak. They had an easier schedule, but their offense came more alive than ours did. And so we are eliminated. And you can just see here for the month, losing our last three games, finished up the season with a 6-game slate against St. Louis. We have 3 more to go still. Lost the first 3 all on the road. And you see the month here overall, it's been just really disappointing in terms of not getting any sort of runs. And so our all-in push was acquiring a bunch of players, one of which I just put on the injured list in Marcelo Mayer, trying to find a guy that could hit righties and play second. I was looking for a right-handed bat, couldn't really find one, but Mayer fit the bill well overall. Gave up, I think, a fair amount. They wanted this pitcher, Ramon Carmona. Despite the really low movement, they liked him, and so they were asking for him. They would have just accepted Carmona straight up. Mayer's a free agent. End of the year, Boston. Don't know where they finished. They were not in the mix when I dealt for him. They were 78-81, finishing the year a bit strong. So gave up him, but to make it more fair, as I like to do, gave up more good prospect here in Derek Drayton, and as a corner right fielder with some legitimate power potential, and also another pitcher in Melvin Diaz, who apparently is injured. And so that was 3 quality prospects for him. The other big move we made was, I was trying to find another outfielder. We got one in Emmanuel Rodriguez from Arizona, who was really good for us, a 115 WRC+. In terms of the trade for him, didn't give up quite as much here, but they wanted this pitcher, and arms are always kind of at a premium in my world. Alex Valdez. So he's still in rookie ball for them. And Tony Villarreal, who we had acquired in another trade that was for, that was in the Will Crow deal. We got him and Steven Malam, but he's now in AAA for Arizona. So we made those pushes there. In terms of starting pitching, I needed another number 5. I got Slade Ciccone, who was decent for us. He came down with shoulder inflammation early in September. He's a free agent, 32. Again, just a lot of these rentals, all in kind of 1-year type of moves. Even traded for a reliever that did not go well in Royber Salinas, who was miserable for us, an 8.35 ERA. The bullpen certainly has had a lot of issues this year. Rafael Feliz, who is injured right now, he had a really poor and I think kind of unlucky year with a 357 BABIP, allowing 8 home runs, pretty high for him. Other things to note here, Brett DeGeis, who we acquired in the offseason, he has shoulder inflammation. I don't know how that's going to keep him out for 8 months at the time of injury. He was really strong for us. Losing him in September did not help with those woes. Corbin Burns, who was one of our big free agent prizes. He tore a flexor tendon in his elbow in July. He's out 10 months. Sign him through next year. He's owed $7 million. Maybe he comes back. Maybe the September push, something like that. He was okay for us. Not as good as I had hoped for. But now we're just eating that money for most, if not all, of next year. I've kind of messed with some of the lineups and stuff, so I'm trying to pull up numbers here for the year. Kaimani Morris had a really good year for us, and so I wanted to see that, expecting big things from Morris. This year, you see the numbers: a 116 WRC plus with 15 home runs, and so there's that. Manuel Rodriguez, like as I mentioned, 115 WRC plus. Justin Bess had a good year, really high on base percentage. That's kind of like the batter that he is. Ke'Bryan Hayes, and what's going to be his last year free agent, not going to re-sign him. 3.5 WAR type season. Delphin Ramirez, 25 home runs. Acquisition Drew Jones, we mentioned in the last video, only 17 home runs, but still I think solid center field play for us overall. Luis Morales was better this year, but kind of slumped towards the end. And so, yeah, it's just a tough year. The offense really fell back to earth late, and here we sit. From the pitching standpoint, it actually was decent. I think our starters it's only 9th in starters ERA. We had some guys rotating in. The bullpen ERA was strong. Just some guys that didn't pan out the way that I had hoped for Feliz in particular. But Christopher Cruz, excellent as always. Really pitched him hard this year, his most innings of his career, because we were in that playoff push. Thought the Dillons were probably a bit underwhelming. Questad was worse than where he was last year, and Lesko was significantly worse than where he was last year. So I extended him throughout the offseason, hoping for a better year next year. The whip was up a little bit. One guy that did impress, called him up midway through the year, was Joakim Bell, our former first-round pick. He was excellent. Really excited about Bell's future with the team, and so he'll be very much part of the rotation next year. Trying to find a number 5 guy is going to be the question. We have the Sal Medina, who was solid. I don't know if the profile is fantastic. It's a different kind of profile. Finesse pitcher, high movement, lower stuff rating. So he'll be in the mix. Sal Ramos has made a couple of starts, continues to struggle for us, and so he probably will go to the bullpen and try that. It's just not working as a starter in Pittsburgh, but it was really inconsequential, generally speaking, to the team's lack of success. Alberto Guerrero became the closer, replacing Feliz. He was very good. And then it's kind of been a bullpen shuffle, and so trying to show these guys is a little bit tougher to do. Beck Way was solid. Ryan Kennedy lost his rotation spot. Tried to go to the bullpen. I don't know if the success was really that much more. It was just about dead even. And so he spent time in AAA, and, we'll see where his future resides. Asa Lacy, I'm sensing some regression. You see the last couple outings that he had, the control has fallen. He's arbitration eligible. He may be somebody that'll be either non-tendered or moved. And so that's kind of where this team sits overall. So if we look at the entire organization, one guy I should mention that did really well, and he's currently injured, is Dean Moss. He was red hot this year. Really probably can't expect that to carry over into next year, but 17 home runs, 134 WRC plus. The BABIP was high, although not that much higher than where it was in 2030, to be fair, but that's a guy that really came through for us. I'll kind of bounce around here and show you guys the 2031 draft class. Again, I know I'm speeding through it. I just want to get to the playoffs, man. I just want to get to a playoff game and be able to enjoy that potential success. It's only happened once in this whole series, so it feels like you can't do that. What else is there to really discuss? But Chris Bill's our first-round pick, 13th overall. For another draft in a row, the Milwaukee Brewers, man, they won the Central this year. There was a guy that I really wanted this year that I thought would fall to me, and he went off the board. If I can type his name in correctly, he's in Milwaukee, right? Yeah, Tyrese Wright. Just looks like the guy they drafted last year, and he's got a sprained ankle. But the guy they drafted last year or 2 years ago, Tony Tovar, is just going to kick our butt for the next decade. He was the 8th overall pick. In 2029, we picked like 10th or 12th or something like that and lost out to him. he's just crushing it. I don't know how this guy fell to 8th. I wanted Wright, and he went 10th, and we were picking, I think, 13th. And so, yeah, just missed out on him. And so it just insult to injury. Had the number 1 overall pick in 2030, or pick there on how Salais has done poorly. But number 1 overall pick in a pretty down class, and the other classes have, just guys that I would kill for. So that's frustrating. Victor Panaguai is our 2nd round pick here. And let's see, Jordan Barrera, 3rd round pick. A lot of catchers, but just trying to find some talent. Our 4th round pick did not sign. I just chose not to sign him, just budgetary concerns. And then Jorge Fernandez, who I guess will be a bullpen guy because of the stamina, but he's got a good pitch mix overall. And we'll show one more, Jose Lopez, in round number 6, who did pretty well in A-ball this year. Quick look at our top prospects. Jose Pena, number 9 prospect in baseball. Very good year in Altoona. I probably should have moved him up late. Had some competition at 3rd. I could probably do that now. Not even sure if there's anybody who's a 3rd baseman in Altoona right now. It's looking pretty sparse down there. I think I can do that. And Trent Jones is hurt. That's fine. Because Indy is still in the playoffs. And so we can give him a cup of coffee there and see how he looks. Let's see, this guy's in International Complex. We'll run a scouting report on him. Let's see who else. We called up Alex Anaya this year because he looked ready. Didn't give him a lot of at-bats, just 49 plate appearances. Did not do well, but it's a small sample size, and so he'll have a chance to compete next year. Mayer's a free agent. He will not return, just too much money there. We have Amaya, who is average with the bat, but the glove is the combination there. Mario Alfera called up to AA. He is scuffled so far, but we're going to move him on up. He's 22, and he was crushing it in high A ball, so wanted to give him that chance. Jason Moten has done well. He was really good, really good in AA, and so he got promoted to AAA, and he could be a catcher. Yeah, he's now a 60 position rating. I didn't notice that. That's on that most recent scouting report. So that's going to be a catcher, maybe our starter. Yeah, that's probably going to be our starting catcher next year over Arambide. And so Rene Lasters, I should mention, had a really good year. Arambide had some injuries, and Lasters did well for what we would expect from him. I mean, a good year for him is 73 WRC plus and 6 home runs. He's a captain. He's good defensively. But yeah, Jason Moten, going to be a guy to watch for. And I'm still a big fan of Jaden Murdoch, who in the field is a little questionable. I wish the home run power was like 50, then you'd really be excited about that, but that's going to be a future outfielder there. Rodriguez, another free agent that we traded for, he's not going to get re-signed. And from a pitching standpoint, Figueroa, good year in AA. He's developing nicely. That's a good trade I think we got with him. That was in the deal for Luis Oviedo, who's now in Toronto, and now has torn his rotator cuff, so that's a guy that probably will be a back-end rotation number 4 type here soon. We did trade for David Romo in April. That was a kind of a minor swap for Douglas Glaude. We had a really kind of, too many outfielders, and so we decided to trade away Glaude because he's kind of been a 4A kind of guy, and that kind of is the highlight. Oh yeah, one thing I should mention as well, and I'm not going to find all the emails, but he is on suspension right now. Nathaniel Herrera has a selfish personality. We look at our team chemistry, which we maxed out, by the way, and it's the weirdest thing because I got in a prompt that said, we lost the game, and you get the prompt of Herrera making a comment. He doesn't really care about winning or losing, just as long as he pitches well, and he pitched very well, and so the clubhouse was upset about that. I suspended him. And this just kept happening. This has happened 4 or 5 times. I don't know if that's part of the game or a glitch. I feel like I'm kind of in some sort of weird infinite loop. I've just kept suspending him just to maintain team chemistry. But on June 5th, June 28th, July 31st, September 9th, September 19th, it just kept happening. So I don't know what is going on with this. This has to be a glitch. I'm going to have to trade this guy. I got him in the Rule 5 draft. With St. Louis. I'm going to deal him in the offseason. He's a really good pitcher, so it's kind of tough to do, but if I'm dealing with just like him being unavailable because he's being suspended because the game is buggy to some respect, I just can't hold on to him. So the bullpen's going to look a bit different next year. So that's overall where I'm at. I'm just going to sim out the last 3 games of the season, just taking out some key starters and not going to let Cruz pitch again. And we're going to get a look at some younger guys and Gil Quintos and Tony Luces. He was our once prize international free agent signing, who's dropped off, but kept chugging along, and so we're just going to get him a look. He was set to be a free agent, so I'll put him on the 40-man, and we'll just kind of simulate things and kind of do things a little bit differently to end the year, so you can kind of get, we're not going to go into a game, but just to kind of get a sense of some sort of game action. Alright, lost 4 in a row now to St. Louis, 7-2. Looking at Luces, he went over for 2 Ks, and Gil Quintos, who we tried to call up. Tabor Fast wasn't working out, and Quintos has just not just panned out the way that I hoped that he would. And so that's the situation there. Just 2 runs again. We haven't scored more than 6 runs in a game since the 3rd week of July. So that just kind of sums up where things sit today. Or maybe the 3rd week of August, I think it was. I think I misspoke there. The last time we scored more than 6 runs. Yeah, sorry, it was the 3rd week of August. Feels like July. That was against the Reds. And then since then, the offense has really struggled. We had some really good offensive explosions earlier this year with 14 runs and 17 runs. And again, at one point had a great offense. Knew it would come back to earth, but not like this so late. Well, it's another loss for the Pirates. 2-1 this time. Blew it late, allowed runs in the 7th and 8th inning. Pirates just 4 hits and a run and an error. That was Lasters, the catcher. Luces got his first hit, so that's good. But everything else is not, except for Sal Ramos with a quality start overall, but no run support. That is the theme of the month. No run support overall. And our A-team Greensboro, looks like they got eliminated from the playoffs. So yeah, should we let Dylan pitch the last game here? I think we have Herrera has to be activated, and I don't have a spot for him. That's, again, all the issues I've had with Herrera this year. Dean Moss is on the injured list. Can I put somebody else on there or just send somebody down? I don't even know at this point. Gil Quintos is annoying the heck out of me, so he's just going to go back down to AAA just to make this easy. And we'll activate him. Yeah, again, I gotta trade Herrera. If you've ever had a selfish player and had this bug of sorts kind of come up where a guy repeatedly just gets suspended or makes waves, you get that prompt, let me know. I just would be curious to know. I'm on 23, not on 24, by the way, of Out of the Park. So let's finish today. And I'll just kind of show you guys the behind the scenes. Not that it's exciting. Taylor Lehman, our veteran, came up for just a little bit as our bullpen was getting shaky with all the Herrera suspensions. And so we'll finish today and play the last game of the year. And we're on just a terrible losing streak right now. 5 in a row, 6 of our last 7. And for the month, we are 8-14. So just a real big collapse down the stretch. No, Christopher Cruz is not pitching. That is for sure. Sometimes the game will get weird. Let me bench Cruz just so there's no chance he accidentally pitches. I'm just going to make sure from a lineup standpoint that it is Lesko. I'm not sure who is not even showing right now. It's our DH. Let me throw somebody in because I sent Quintos down. Oh, let's see here what we want to try to do. Keep Brian Hayes, his last game as a Pittsburgh Pirate. I'll put Justin Best there. Doesn't really matter at this point. So, and Hayes was in the lineup, right? I just want to make sure in his last game at home, and he can wave to the crowd as we finish the season with a win. We do win. We finally get a win here. 5-0, so that's how the year ends. We'll check out the box score Looks like Arambide had a double of Alex Vega. Backup third baseman, a 2-run shot. And that was the bulk of the action in this game, coming bottom third. So you go out on a victory. Hayes went 0 for 4, but that's okay. Great career for Ke'Bryan Hayes. We'll look at it here. Man, he started over 1,200 games for Pittsburgh, isn't that? And really probably more, because there's not sure what's happening in 2021, but those are the numbers there. 103 home runs, 103 WRC plus, a 30 WAR player. Got moved to shortstop later in his career, which you don't see too often. Usually it's the shortstop going somewhere else. Drew Jones, let's see, did he hit a home run? He did. 18 home runs for him. Rowan Kelly, another strong year, 26 home runs, kind of better than what the numbers may indicate. And Ricardo Cabrera, our second baseman, maybe a backup next year. Arambide finished the year with only 1 home run, 75 games, 270 plate appearances, and only 1 home run, hit 10 last year. By the way, I'm just kind of piecing things together, Our All-Stars this year was, I believe, Ke'Bryan Hayes. Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes was 1, and Christopher Cruz was 1, and I believe those were the only 2 All-Stars. Ramirez was last year. Drew Jones was not 1. Yeah, those were the 2 All-Stars, was Hayes and Cruz. And so Hayes made 2, one in 2027, one in 2031. Only 1 Gold Glove in his career. That's surprising, to say the least. But finishing the year, 84 and 78. It is our, I think, second best record we've ever had in this game, I want to say. We'll check here. Won 94 games in 2027. And yes, 84 is the second most, but only made the playoffs in that 2027 season. So, frustrating, to say the least. I don't really know. I mean, I could cheat the game, obviously. I'm not going to do that. But I just don't know how to make this team good enough. Offensively, it just needs to be better. But I feel like the team really should be competitive and simply just can't get over that hump. And it's not like we play in a super competitive division either. The Central's gotten better in the last couple of years. The Cubs were pretty disappointing, but Milwaukee, was good. But the second place team won 85 games, and so we finished behind St. Louis because of all those problems late. Checking out the standings, it was Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and San Diego winning the NL divisions. The Rays won 100 games. The White Sox, 86 was enough to take the Central, only team above 500 there. And the LA Angels with 102 wins. Playoff teams in the AL are Seattle, Houston, and Toronto. In the NL, it's Colorado, San Francisco, and the New York Mets. Worst team in baseball this year was the Arizona Diamondbacks at 62 and 100. The Oakland A's won 72 games, so good for them. So that's going to wrap things up. I know, again, very much trying to jam-pack a bunch of information into one video as we go from the start of the season until the end. I thought for a while we would make the playoffs. I could come back, we do some wild card stuff, but that's baseball, I guess. That's the Pittsburgh Pirates' luck. So we'll come back for the start of 2032. I want to try to get one more season in before my busy football season begins, and the videos for this probably will slow down some. Not that they're at a rocket pace right now, but they're coming out a little bit quicker. So big decisions to make in terms of free agency. Hayes will not return. Mayer will not return. Rodriguez will not return. Those guys just want too much money. Even the arbitration guys like Drew Jones will cost a lot because I'm on the hook with Burns and the injury. We'll see exactly what happens there. Asa Lacy maybe non-tendered. Nick Dial, he was okay for us but lost his spot, and so he probably will not be on this team in any capacity next year. Either he'll be non-tendered or arbitrated and signed and then traded. We'll wait and see there. And those are the bulk of the decisions. There is also Questad down here, but those are all guys that I'll pick up. In terms of free agency, I'm not quite sure what I want. Again, if I could get a second baseman against righties and platoon it, and Morales hits against lefties because he's far better versus lefties than righties, then I'll do that. 114 WRC plus against lefties, 52 against righties, so that's probably something I'll be looking for. Other than that, maybe a DH type, maybe, or backup outfielder, probably at least one starting pitcher, and a couple of bullpen arms. Probably call it 2 bullpen guys with Burns not coming back. If he comes back, it'll be late next year. If he comes back at all, setbacks, and maybe he tanks and his career's over. The dude's 36, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But thank you guys for watching. Wish I could have brought you playoffs. Unfortunately, not. But we'll figure it out. We'll come back, regroup, reload, and we'll talk to you soon.